Good evening, Irondale. This is Mayor James Douglas Stewart Jr. with another episode of Message from the Mayor. We are so delighted to have this opportunity to be able to share with you what has transpired in the City of Irondale for the month of May, and also to give you an update about what's going on in the month of June. I have with me today Ms. Kim McDanal, who has lived in Irondale all of her life, and she is a permanent fixture here. And I am so delighted to have her to be able to interview me today and to be able to ask me some questions so that I can inform you about what's going on in the wonderful city of Irondale. So, Ms. Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you, James. And I'm very excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad you took time out of your busy grandmother's schedule to be able to come and to be able to interview me. You've always been very supportive. You're a big fan of the city of Irondale.
I am.
So I could not think of another individual who would be such a joy to be able to have this glorious occasion to be able to interview me, but to also to be able to share some of their insights with the citizens in the city of Irondale.
Thank you,
So
James.
thank you, Kim, for being here. So at this time, you can pull out your sheet and you can begin to hammer away and ask me whatever your heart desires.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to start with a couple of the big things. And it's the question that we ask on the community forums it seems like every day, but it's weekly or a little more often than that. Will you give us an update on the grocery store?
I can truly say that we are very close to being able to announce who is going to be the grocer for the city of Irondale. On the last city council meeting, we had a resolution to be able to approve $6.4 million in incentives to be able to bring him here to the city. There was a few things that they had going on once they began to do some of their evaluations. The site work ended up being a little bit more expensive than they thought that it would be.
Okay.
But this is the city of Irondale, and there is a lot of rock in the city of Irondale.
Yes.
Therefore, we created a new incentive agreement with them, which is going to cost the city about $6.4 million. It's a 15-year plan. We're going to split the revenue 60-40 the first 5 years. In years 6 through 15, there's going to be a 50-50 split. So as soon as they reach the $6.4 million that has been allocated by the city council, then the rest of those proceeds will begin to come to the city of Irondale.
That's great, fantastic. So when do you think we might have that grocery store? Everybody wants to know.
One of the things that I've learned in politics, you can always give a month, but you never give a year.
Okay.
According to the agreement, they are projected to open in October of 2023.
Okay.
So we're just going to go with the date that's in the agreement. If it happens to be a little bit sooner, we will be ecstatic to be able to share that information with the citizens. If it's a little bit longer, as long as you see them moving dirt,
Yes.
and you see progress on them with building the development there, then everybody should be okay to know that the grocery store is still coming to the city of Irondale.
Well, you know, when we elected you, James, we expected big things out of you. And so is there anything else big coming to Irondale, or is there any other big major things going on right now?
Well, we're currently working on a project that could actually change the landscape in the city of Irondale. Everybody knows that it's Project X. If you follow the council meetings on June the 16th, we will have a resolution to develop a cooperative district to be able to handle this project. So I would say that if this project makes it to the finish line, it is going to be something that the citizens of Irondale is going to be excited about. It's going to be something that will change this side of Jefferson County, and it's going to be one of a kind. It's going to be something that very few cities have in the city of Irondale. So I would say that is the next big thing that we're working on, and hopefully within a few months we'll be able to make a public announcement to let people know exactly what's coming to the city.
Okay. Well, you know, I think a lot of us who supported you and elected you felt like our city needed something big and different, that we were at a point to where we needed to move forward with our growth and with having different ideas. And so thank you for that. That's great.
Well, I appreciate it. It's something that I inherited from my mother when I was growing up as a kid. She always taught me to be able to think extremely big. Think so big that it's impossible for me to be able to achieve it by myself. But as long as you got a community that is supportive and want to be able to see things move forward, anything can happen.
Okay. Well, we want Irondale to be the city that stands out in Jefferson County or throughout Alabama. So I'm excited about that.
Well, my promise to you, Kim, and to the citizens of Irondale is to make Irondale a destination place. Mm-hmm. When people hear the city of Irondale, they all are going to want to be able to be a part of what's going on in this magnificent city that we live in.
Okay. And and I know we're talking about big things, and you're right. We have to have a big vision. But also, James, I know just from the little bit of perspective that I have that you've worked really hard since the day that we elected you, and probably even before then. You had a lot of ideas, and you're already working on what you were going to do when you became our mayor. And I know you've been working hard, and I know we have big things coming, but I just wanted to kind of go over some of the small victories we've had, because I feel like also that the small things add up and make a big difference. I feel like in the last 7 months that you've been in office that you've made a big difference to the employees here, to the citizens. We have a voice, and we love that. And so I want to talk a little bit about what I consider things that have already been completed. And when I think of it, the first thing I think is what you did right here at City Hall, coming in and tell us about what you did with the employees, the difference you made in their lives.
Well, one of the things I wanted to do is to be able to change the culture for the employees. I wanted to give them hope. I wanted them to realize that they were loved and they had someone that was responsible for them, that cared for them at the same time. So we came in, we had 8 different initiatives to be able to improve their pay as well as to improve their benefits, which ultimately works to be able to improve their quality of life. And that was something that was very important to me, because when I ran for office, one of the E's was employee empowerment. And you can't empower people if they don't know that you care about them. So I truly believe by coming in within the first 30 days and being able to get those initiatives through, it helped the employees to realize that they have a mayor that cares about them, that will continue to look out for their benefit and to make sure that they have everything that they need to be able to do their job here in the city of Irondale.
And I asked a couple of employees the last week, as a matter of fact, I talked with one this morning and said, tell me about morale at the City of Irondale. And they said it's the highest it's ever been since they've been here. So thank you, James, because the people here, the staff in our city, they can't serve us unless they are taken care of and that they feel good about their job and the people they're serving. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. Happy employees are hardworking employees.
That's right. And it's a great accomplishment, and you did that very quickly from the time that you came in. And then on the other hand, we've got citizens who also need to be served. And this is really hard for some of us to comprehend, that there are people just right down the street from us that are hungry. So what about the food drive? I mean, that's been a great accomplishment.
The food drive it has been, it actually did more than I thought that it was going to actually do for people. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really something that was an initiative that I had when I came into office. I had a friend that was in ministry, and they were providing food to other municipalities, and they asked me if I wanted to participate in it, and I shared with them that we would. And as soon as we jumped in, it seems like it just caught fire here in the city of Irondale. I remember for Christmas, we had cars all the way to the Golden Rule, yes, where people were trying to get here to be able to get food. And just to be able to stand out there every other Saturday, and as people are going through the line, and they will tell you, thank you for doing this for me, or, I feel blessed that we have a city that is providing food for us, and to be able to hear people say, this may be the last little bit of food that I get for the week. Those things are very rewarding, mm-hmm. Even though some people would say that's not the role of government. But when you're called to serve and to be able to help people, you have to have the flexibility to know how to be able to meet the needs of the citizens that live in your community. And I just want to continue to be able to do that as long as the citizens will allow me to be in office.
Okay. And I believe, if I understand correctly, that most of the food has been donated. It's not, or we got it from other sources. We've spent very little money of the city money to provide that service. Is that correct?
All of the food was free. We spent only $150 to be able to have the truck go pick up the food and bring it here to the City of Irondale. We were able to give out close to about 1,600 boxes of food, and if we had to pay for it, the cost would have been somewhere around $150,000 to be able to do it. So that just shows you that when you try to meet the needs of the individuals that live in your community, that the Lord has a way of providing and giving you those things to be able to meet those needs.
Okay. So something else accomplished that really touched our citizens and made a difference in their lives.
Yes, it's all about the people, Kim. At the end of the day, it's really all about the people. Tagline is building community. You can't build a community if you can't build the people that live in the community.
And of course, I have a long list of things that I thought about that you had done since just in 7 months. And one of them is what we're doing right here is communication. I've had a lot of people tell me we've never had anyone communicate with us like James. He's been transparent. He is making sure that he touches all facets of our community, the business, the neighborhoods, just anyone who's involved in our community. And so thank you for that, James. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a joy to be able to do it.
And something else that was really dear to my heart, and it ended up being dear to a lot of other people's hearts, was the Trash Amnesty Weeks, okay? And you did that very quickly, and
Yes.
and it made a big difference in our community. It was a lot of cleanup, so thank you for that.
Well, it's just, we've had the conversation several times, how the people in the City of Irondale talk about trash and talk about garbage.
Yes.
And you hardly hear that in a lot of other municipalities because their work is contracted out. So they don't really have that community engagement with those independent haulers the way that you can have here with the City of Irondale. But we will continue to have our own sanitation department so that we can pick up our own garbage, we can pick up our own trash, and within the next few months we will have another trash amnesty day to allow people to be able to put out those things that typically we don't pick up on a regular route.
Well, thank you. And I was going to ask you if we could have another one, so thank you so
We
much.
will have another one soon.
I know that people want it. And then, as a part of that too, we've had the waste collection. I don't really know what that was called. We've had waste collection here in the past where you take paint and those sort of things. But it was moved up to the old Sam's building. Tell me what that's called now.
That was called the Hazardous Waste Day.
Okay.
And that day was set up to be able to collect things that normally we can't pick up in our regular trash and garbage because it is hazardous. So it has to be handled in a different way. And we will have that again probably around next year, around the same time, the same place.
Okay. Well, and I heard from a lot of people it was very well organized, and it met a need for especially older people who are not able to really get out and find places that they can dispose of hazardous waste. So thank you for that too. And I want to go back just a minute to you talked about us having our own garbage collectors, our own public works department. And even though we talk a lot about garbage on these forums that we have, the overall majority of people, I would say just about everyone, is very complimentary of our garbage guys. Our sanitation workers, and we see every day because we're all home now from COVID.
That's true.
And we see every day how they go above and beyond to take care of our communities and our neighborhoods and our community. And if we had that contracted out, it wouldn't be that way.
Exactly.
I mean, they are like a part of our community. They are loved. And then also, if it was contracted out, I don't think we would have had the ability to do what was done when the tornado came through and hit Roebuck Park. So will you mention that a little bit? I feel like that was just a big deal in our community.
Well, yes, I have to give all the credit to Frank Pennington. Frank does an excellent job in the Public Works Department to make sure that everything runs smoothly there. And that's one of the things that you can truly say, that when you have good people that work for you, you become blessed as a leader, where a lot of times you get the credit for it, but you're not the one that's actually doing the work. But because we have our own Public Works Department, it allowed us to be able to go and help Fultondale. When Fultondale had their tornado to be able to hit their area, we were in a position where we could allow our knuckle boom truck to go over there and work with them to help them to be able to clean up what was going on in their city. When we had the tornado here in Roebuck Plaza, we could quickly mobilize our individuals to go out and begin to pick up limbs and things that were out there in Roebuck Plaza, as well as what was going on Highway 11. Even today, we're still picking up stuff from that storm that was not a requirement for the city to be able to do it, but because no one else stepped up to the plate to be able to do it, Frank made a decision with myself that we will continue to pick up stuff. Although people had private contractors to come up out there and to be able to cut their stuff, and we have a policy not to be able to do that, but because it happened through the storm, we want to make sure that we can still be able to help the people that live here in the city of Irondale. So I would say, Kim, that's one of the things. By us having our own public works department, it allows us to be able to go beyond the call of duty and to be able to help our employees or to be able to help our citizens in a way that if it was contracted out, they would not receive the same kind of service.
Yeah, and I also want to mention, I know that there were probably other departments that were involved in that, so I want to give them, a lot of credit for that too, but it was mainly the Public Works, I think, that's been working continually on that. So as citizens, we appreciate it. And I was also very impressed with the citizens of Irondale. And when we found out that that's where our Public Works Department was, that's where they were putting all their emphasis, I think everybody was very patient about their own neighborhoods because we wanted Roebuck Park to be taken care of.
Well, we were glad people were patient about how long it was taking us to be able to get to the rest of the city. But we wanted you to be able to put yourself in that position.
That's right.
And if you had that to happen to you, how long would you want those trees to sit out in front of your yard and to be able to look at them? So we just kind of made it a priority, and we realized that we have citizens that love the whole city, so they would be understanding or would understand why it was taking us a little longer to be able to get to them.
And that's back to communication. So thank y'all again for communicating that to us so we knew what was going on. That's very important. And I know that one thing that you talked about during the election was building community. And I have noticed that you've been bringing our churches together. There was an annual prayer breakfast that was started. I attended that, and it was wonderful. And so just mention a little bit about that accomplishment of bringing our churches into our community and having them work together for the good of the city.
Well, I believe that a community that prays together stays together. And the more we stay on our knees, the more we can be able to build our community. And we've been blessed to be able to have a lot of religious organizations in our city. We have EWTN, which broadcasts around the world.
Yes.
We have Church of the Highlands, one of the biggest congregations in the state of Alabama. My thing is, why can't we use the resources that are currently here? EWTN has already stepped up to the plate. And for the month of June, we're going to have the mayor's monthly prayer meeting at their church, or there on their campus. And although because of COVID, they have not fully opened up their campus, it's only going to be for pastors. But eventually, once everybody gets back to normal, we hope to be able to open it up to allow pastors and citizens to come and pray the third Thursday of every month at 9 a.m.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about this coffee with the mayor. I haven't attended that.
Well, coffee with the mayor is for individuals to come and to give their gripes and their complaints to the mayor. Usually people don't show up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they don't show up at 6 o'clock in the evening to be able to tell me how great I am. They show up to tell me exactly what their problems and issues are. We want to make sure that we keep a line of communications open to the community so that people feel comfortable that they can come and they can air their grievances, and that the city will listen to them, and we will also be proactive to put something in place to be able to solve the problem.
So from our small conversation here, a lot of small things have added up to a lot of big things that have been accomplished in 7 months, James.
I would say yes.
Yes, and so the big things are important, the Project X, the grocery store, but in my opinion, the small things add up too. So we have big expectations of you and our city council and the employees here in the city. But my question would be, what can we as citizens do to build community and make a difference in our community?
I would say the first thing you need to do is to be able to find your place. Everybody's been able or been given a gift to be able to do something. Find something that you're passionate about, and once you identify that passion, we want you to be able to plug in, and we want you to serve. Because if you find your sweet spot, then we don't have to worry about motivating you to want to be involved in what's going on in the city of Irondale.
Okay. And I was thinking a lot about that, and I think I've mentioned to you, we need a meeting place. We need a sports complex. We need this, we need that. I've mentioned all the big things, but I would like to encourage people to think about the small things that we can do to build community. If you don't do anything else but look around and see which neighbors in your neighborhood you don't know, and invite them over for lemonade and cookies on your front porch. I mean, getting to know people makes all the difference in the world.
That is true.
And when you know everybody in your community, you feel like you are a part of the community. So I would just like to encourage people to start small and let's go big.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Okay. And did you have any other announcements that you wanted to mention? I wanted to say one more thing, okay? Is that you're not surprised about that, are you, James?
I am not surprised
And nobody
by
else
that
that
at
knows me
all.
will be either. But, I want to say that I feel, and I think I've talked to many people who feel a whole new energy in Irondale. And again, in 7 months, think about the difference of the way that we feel about our community. So again, I just want to really concentrate today on our accomplishments. We know where we're going and we're going to get there, but we've come a long way, and I want to make sure that we recognize that and we celebrate that. And so anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just, initially when we started out, you said that you were nervous about doing this interview, but it doesn't come off to be like that at all.
I'm very nervous.
I mean, you've done an excellent job, and I appreciate you coming in and being able to ask me these questions. I guess my parting shot is that at the last city council meeting, the city did approve to be able to buy a transporter unit here for the city because of everything that's going on in Jefferson County, and there's a limit of paramedics and transporter services that are here. We decided that we wanted to make sure that our citizens were well taken care of. So I thank the city council for last Wednesday night for allowing us to purchase one for the city in the amount of about $240,000. There's not a lot of municipalities that can do that. They can just identify emergency, go to the general fund, pay for it, and take care of their people. I want to let the citizens know that we are in such great financial condition that we can make that move, and we will not even miss the funds that we're using to purchase this transporter. So I just want to let them know that we put your interests before our interests, and we're here to be able to serve you. And we want the favor of God to continue to be on the city, that everybody will feel motivated, they will be enthusiastic about all the things that are going on. I hear it all the time that there seems to be a different spirit that's flowing through the city. Even when we reopened the Senior Activity Center, it was almost like a group of seniors that was coming back to school after being on spring break. They were so excited to be with each other and have an opportunity to continue to fellowship with each other. So that's what we want to continue to do here, Kim. We want people to feel excited about what's going on, but we also want them to be very enthusiastic about being a part of what's going on in the city of Irondale.
And thank you so much for mentioning the ambulance or transport service. I had that on my list and forgot to mention it. And I've been in a position to where we had an emergency at our house, and it felt like forever before the paramedics got there, and they were there in 2 or 3 minutes. And so when you're waiting on an ambulance and it takes 20 or 30 minutes and it's your loved one that needs to get to the hospital, it's hard. It's very hard. And so the city council, Josh McDanal, the fire department, who stepped up to do that for the citizens, when you're in that position, it makes a huge difference. And waiting on that ambulance for 30 minutes is it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
And it can be the difference between life and death. So thank y'all so much. It's just, again, a great accomplishment in such a short time. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you all. We couldn't do it without you.
Okay.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Kim, for coming in and being able to interview me. What do we want to be able to leave the citizens of Irondale with after you've just done a fantastic job of asking those questions? We just want to let everybody know that the city of Irondale is moving forward, that we are going to be one of the greatest cities in Jefferson County as well as in the state of Alabama. we're looking forward to all of the fantastic things that are happening here. And on next month, I will have Jade Stewart and Christian Stewart are going to be the individuals who will interview me, because this will be our anniversary for actually having this event and being able to share with the community. So after 1 year, including when I ran for office, it was birthed by them having the idea of wanting to communicate to the citizens on a regular basis. I'm going to have them in next month, and they're going to interview their daddy about what's going on in the city of Irondale.
That
So
will
we're
be
looking forward
great.
to it.
That will be great. Thank you so much for having me, James.
Thank you.